Welcome back to the Sunday Footy Show. It is time to go inside the 10 with the biggest journos in rugby league.
Oh, how dare you? You fat-shamed us straight off the bat.
Biggest names, I mean, obviously. And there's never...
You are carrying a bit, actually.
Mate, I've lost some weight.
Maybe you need the man shake, Reedy. What do you reckon?
You're a man shake fan, right?
No, well, they're a sponsor of the show.
I know they are, yeah.
Right.
So.
The lady shakes also.
Oh, the lady shake, sorry. Anyway, back to the question.
Anyway, there's never a dull day in rugby league, and Cameron Ciraldo has knocked back that offer from the West Tigers. So where did Justin Pascoe and the Tigers go now, Reedy?
Well, no real surprises. It's been coming for a few days now. The whispers on Thursday he was about to knock it back. You know, they've got to start again, I guess, because they put all their eggs in one basket. There's plenty of options for them. It's not like they've got no options. I mean, Flanagan, John Morris, obviously, Christian Wolfe. There's been a few whispers about Toddy Payton, whether they might have a go with Toddy Payton at the Cowboys. So it's not as if they're bereft of options, but they've got to start again.
There's no chance.
They're bereft.
Toddy Payton, there's no chance Toddy Payton's going back. He's flying at the Cowboys and they got rid of him.
You hacks sort of follow this more than me, but is the Payton rumour correct?
Well, he's got a year left in his deal up there.
I know, but have there been nibbles? You know, you're inside the Tigers.
They have to make.
You know what's going on with the Tigers.
I'm not saying you'll go, but if you're the West Tigers, you make the phone call, don't you, to Todd Payton?
Yeah.
Well, he played under Tim Sheen, so too did John Morris.
Yeah.
Is John Morris a decent chance?
Yeah, look, I've got a left field idea. I've been thinking. I did a lot of thinking.
Oh, here we
in the
go.
shower this morning on the way before I came in.
What? Well, you know what? You got rid of Madge. Now you can bring someone in.
Here we go. No, I have an idea for you. Hear me out. Brad Arthur. No, listen to this.
Come on.
We know his window at Parramatta is coming to an end at some point. In the next 18 months, they're either going to win a premiership or he's going to be gone. Now, the Tigers want a development coach. Brad Arthur, if you go through that roster, Clint Gutherson...
You're trying to get Brad a pay
No, I'm just trying... This is one of those rare situations. This is one of those rare situations where it's a win-win for everyone, because Parramatta, we know, the whispers have been around Brad for a while in regards to whether he's going to move on. And if Brad was to move on, they won't admit this, Parramatta, but privately, it's a good situation for them because...
Well, they'll go and get Ciraldo.
Well, they'll go and get Ciraldo,
Well,
and they don't want to make the call
That's the rumour
at the moment.
Ciraldo's hanging out for the Parramatta job.
And if they make the call and get rid of Brad and it goes pear-shaped, they look silly. But if the Tigers come knocking for Brad and he decides to go, gets a 4-year deal and does what he did to the Parramatta Eels at the West Tigers, and you look at that roster, the players he's developed. Clint Gutherson, 2 ACLs. Mike Acevo, he's come in, he's turned him into a superstar. Semi Radradra did the same thing. Corey Norman played his best football. Papali'i, Sean Lane, Nathan Brown, Reid Money. The list goes on. He's done a good job turning
Nathan
players.
Brown?
Well, Nathan Brown played Origin. They're trying to now, but he didn't
played Origin.
So when do you think this is going to happen? Like at the end of this year?
No, but they have to do something now, the Tigers. So Brad's window's closing.
Brad's not going to walk away from Parramatta now.
Well, he might do if he gets a long-term deal.
The window's closing at the end of this year. They're putting a fly screen up at the end of the year. The window's going to be shut soon.
He's not going to say no yes to that.
Okay. Well, I'm not saying
you know what
he
it is?
will,
It's a nice theory.
Why don't you go
it's a nice
ask
theory.
the question? You offer him a 4-year deal and say, you know what, Brad? You're going at some point things are going to go pear-shaped here for you at Parramatta. It is, Webby. The expectations of premiership.
It's all going to go to poo.
Come to the Tigers.
So come to the Tigers.
And pull us out of the poo.
Because we've got a new centre of excellence. The end.
That's my theory.
I don't mind the theory. It's a good theory, right?
Oh, thank you.
But, you know, is it in Brad's best interest to leave a club that's fighting for a premiership to go to a club that's at the bottom of the ladder?
They've offered Cameron Ciraldo a 5-year deal to go be there, a rookie coach.
They're not going to offer Brad a 5-year deal.
Well, if they give him a 4-year deal, let's just say, he goes and has the same time to turn around the Tigers like he did with Parramatta, because Parramatta were a basket case when he took over that club. They were wooden spoon every year. I think they had one good year there with Jared Hayne in 14, but he's taken a while to turn them around, and they've made the final, 4 out of the last 5 years, and they've been top 4, top 6 team. It makes sense.
Where's this come from?
Where
has this come from?
It's come from a question from Reedy that was sent last night saying, where do the Tigers go now? And Emma's asked it, and I had a thought this morning.
Well, I tell you what, soon you're either going to be an absolute genius or we're going to say that Chamis bloke is an absolute gibber and he's got no idea.
We'll say that
Probably
anyway.
the latter anyway.
In terms of the Warriors then, I mean, Christian Wolfe has knocked them back. So with this kind of merry-go-round of coaches, who's looking most likely to go there?
Well, theirs is a lot more difficult because they've got to convince someone across the Tasman. And so there's situations a lot more difficult than what the Tigers is, I think. And if you look at New Zealand Rugby League, in the last 2 years, it's been decimated. Hardly anyone plays the game anymore over there. The rating figures are great, but the game...
Yeah, it's running through the roof though, isn't it?
It is, but the game at grassroots has basically died. So I'm not sure who does that job. They've got to find somebody and go in there and fix it.
Do you give it to Stacey?
No.
Okay.
Okay. Well, if you say no, provide a solution.
Well, again, there's
You speared poor old Stacey Jones ornament in New Zealand Rugby League. Brad Arthur.
Give it to Brad Arthur. He'll fix it. Brad can fix it.
In all seriousness, the Michael Maguire New Zealand...
Putting a line through him is ridiculous by their owner.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. They've put a line through him, but doesn't it make the most sense if he's the national coach of the New Zealand team? They had a good win yesterday. I know you said that I've speared Madge from the Tigers, but things weren't working.
Say that.
Things weren't working at the Tigers.
You may have contributed to it.
But at the Warriors, if he's national coach and you can actually allow him to create those pathways through from the junior system all the way to the top, it makes sense. But Mark Robinson's the owner of the Warriors has decided Michael Maguire's not their man.
It seems a bit silly given he knows the systems. He's already done a lot of work over there in trying to help their pathway. So anyway, plenty to play out on the coaching front. Of course, we've got Origin 2 this evening and the pressure's on New South Wales. Now, I think because he's not on the panel, we can maybe get away with asking the question.
Oh, you did the list this week, so you put...
Can we just clarify the question?
Answer the
The
question.
question got changed at the 11th hour.
If New South Wales lose,
We'll go with Webby on this one.
is Brad Fittler under pressure?
Safe as a bank.
Okay.
Going nowhere.
Well, Reedy?
They've won 3 of the last 4. What people don't also see is just the way that Freddie has re-energised the connection between the community and the New South Wales team since he took over. He's under no pressure whatsoever. The questions that should rightly be asked if they do lose this game tonight, how they've lost this series the way that they have. I think then maybe another Canavan review, maybe a summit from the New South Wales Rugby League. But, you know, he's going nowhere.
Okay, well...
Webby's right, though. I mean, look, he's safe, but the question's going to be asked about his selections if they don't win. Like, to go from what he did in Game 1, there were some controversial selections there, then to make the number of changes he did in Game 2. The criticism will come, did he make the wrong call? But he'll be coaching the Blues next year, unless there's something we don't know about in the background.
See, this thing, when Freddie came in 2018, like, he changed everything up and they brought in this whole new, fresh approach. And now Queensland have done the same thing. Under the guidance of 3 of the best players to ever play the game, who only just finished playing in the last 2, 3, 4 years, and played with some of these players. So it's like the coaching evolution of the Maroons has, you know, made them really catch up with New South Wales.
Okay, Reedy, you put the question down. What's your answer?
I don't think he should be under any pressure at all.
Why'd you put the question in?
It's just a talking point. I mean, he's won 3, as Webby said, he's won 3 of the past 4 series. He's done a great job. He's reinvigorated New South Wales. You know, if he loses this series and loses next year, that's a different story. But if he loses this series, I don't think he should be under the blowtorch at all. I mean, he's done a great job, Freddie. Great job in reinvigorating New South Wales. So,
not what he said off air, was it?
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of Freddie.
You know what they should
I'm
blowtorch?
just a Queenslander. That's life,
You
right?
know, you know what they should blowtorch? Chamus's turtleneck thing.
I love
This is a rugby league show. This is a rugby league show. It's not the arts show.
This is the biggest journalist in the NRL here.
I'm going to sit there with like a glass of port, you know.
And a pipe.
The nice slippies you got on there.
Well, while we're
Can you
over...
take control then, please?
Well, I am. Let's get it back to the footy. We're over in Perth this evening. If we're talking about expansion, I mean, Perth, would we like to see a team back there?
Go with you. Your turn to go first. What do you think?
Look, I think it's a little while away. I think we haven't done a good job with the Dolphins, and there's question marks over whether they're going to start the competition being one of the competitive at the very least, let alone a contender. I think expansion is a 2028 question. It's not even in the next 5 years. And then
2028?
Yeah. Well, you want to go to an 18th team before that?
No, you've got to start thinking about it now, though.
Yeah, I understand
Because the issue with the Dolphins is that they didn't get enough time. Right, that's the issue. So we need to make a decision on this in the next 2 years. So you need to be thinking about it now. And I think they are, but I think they're thinking about New Zealand. I think they want a second team in New Zealand.
But if what you said is correct, Reedy, in regards to the state of New Zealand Rugby League and the juniors, how can you even consider New Zealand for a second team when they've had 2.5 decades and haven't got it right with one?
And that's where Andrew Abdo's head is with a second New Zealand team. I want the Warriors stronger. You know, I want them to sort their stuff out. I know they've been away for 2-3 years, but I think you need a half-firing Warriors team before you can even think about getting a second team in New Zealand.
But I think there's a view that having a second team in New Zealand would help the Warriors because we'll give a natural rivalry over there, more exposure for the game, will lead to more kids playing the game, hopefully, and
what about this
reinvigorate
talk of
the
a
game.
Pacific-based team out of New Zealand? Like we saw last night, the scenes were pretty incredible out of New Zealand. If it's a Pacific like we've seen in Super Rugby, I think that's got legs, but it's just the money side of it. PNG are trying to get a team in. Obviously, they're rugby league mad, but you're talking about corporates and making sure that it all stacks up.
Bears.
The Perth Bears.
Perth Bears trying to get in.
Well, just before we wrap up, it's been a great weekend, and we had Friday night, the Women's Origin. Next year we're going to 2 games, but there's been a bit of criticism around this. Should we go straight to 3?
Yes.
If they're going to have 2, they should have 3.
Yeah, you've got to have 3. What's use
It's going to leave a sour taste in your mouth. It's a 1-1 next year and New South Wales win the series because they won the previous year. That sucks. You don't want a series.
That's the headline.
It sucks. But at least have some sort of concept where maybe even an aggregate score, like a series drawn is terrible. Go to 3 games. They went from 8 to 10 teams in the NRLW. They scrapped their plans. I think they should scrap their plans for Origin.
I like that.
It sucks.
There we go. It sucks. Time is up. And Brad Arthur to the Tigers, apparently.
Great job, Em.
That's going to be
Great
there.
job.
And
Thank you.
Shamus doing the jazz show after...
And next week you'll all be wearing sweaters. I bet.